So let me say this. There are too many anti-black dudes in the current manosphere. There are too many dudes who are so willing to speak negative about ADOS people. You start to wonder, who are these people? Where are their grandparents from? You look at Tommy Sotomayor. His dad is Panamanian. He didn't come to this country until he was in 7th grade. He was in Panama the whole time. He comes down, he uses his face, pretends to be African American, pretends to understand the connection, but makes thousands of dollars making fun of black people. So when that happens, you guys got to start to wonder, as black people, especially black dudes, what are we controlling? If the manosphere is really full of men, then you got to really understand, okay, so what are you making for your son? If you allow these anti-blacks to control so much of your message. You look at Tommy Sotomayor, like he said, his dad is Panamanian. He didn't come to this country till 7th grade. When you look at all that, a guy who grew up in the outside of Atlanta, out there close to Snellville and Centerville, who has no connection to black Americans, and you allow those people to have dominance, then you as black guys got to start asking yourself a question. What are you doing for your black sons? You allowing these women to take control of your black sons? They beating you in court. And the only thing you can say as a proud black man is, I can fuck who I want to. Let me say it again. The only thing you can say as a proud black man is, I fuck who I want. You don't own the building. You're not able to get your own son hired at the job that you work, because we have so many anti-blacks within this manosphere structure. You have dudes from other countries, can't stand African Americans, but right here with us, calling African Americans apes and monkeys. And you, black boys, are joining them. Think about that. Think about that. This is why so many of you dudes not even realize more black women are getting forced out of their jobs and they're taking your son's jobs. But you don't care because you like to fuck. And as long as you can bust a nut on somebody back, you feel that you've won. But what you black dudes don't understand, there was once a black dude like you with the same message. He's now homeless. There was a black dude like you that all he talked about was dating and fucking. He's now in a wheelchair. There was a dude like you. All he's talking. You know how many older black dudes I see get evicted out of their apartment around here? Dude 70 years old, ain't got nobody, ain't created no legacy. Nobody give a fuck about him. All his dating days are over. And now he out on the streets. Now he out of, matter of fact, I need to go to a local old folks home and show you how many destitute black dudes there are still trying to hold on to their pimp days, because we have so many anti-blacks caught up in these black conversations. Have you ever wondered why a lot of these dudes have so much animosity toward black people? Have you ever wondered? A lot of these dudes simply are not African American. Now, some dudes are able to have a conversation, not be African American, and be real cool. But then you got some of these other dudes who'll sit up here, talk all this anti-American crap, and the whole time you're thinking they black because they look black, they talk about a couple of Atlanta experiences, but in reality, these dudes are from Lagos. You guys got to start really understanding what that's about. Let me open up the call-in line for anybody that wants to jump in. Actual Factual, let me get him in here before all the rest of you guys get in here, because Actual Factual, he likes to intellectually compete. And if anybody wants the call-in number, then I'll give you the call-in number. Let me email that call-in number to you. So this is the problem that we're having. You get more and more dudes starting to see that women, black women, are coming in the workforce where they work. Why is that, black men? Because they're getting forced out of the place that they used to work. Haven't you ever went to an office and not see many black women no more in those offices the way you used to see in the 70s and 80s, even the mid 90s? Black women have gotten forced out and now they're coming after your job because they're not able to work as a typist. They're not able to work in those spaces anymore. Let's hear what actual factual got to say. Go ahead, sir. I can hear you well. Speak on.
What's going on, Mr. Research?
Push the button, brother. Push the button.
Oh,
No, I mean, go ahead and talk.
can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Um, yeah, on to that point that you were speaking on. Just as a casual observer of the manosphere, I do think times like these are important because what we see is my observation is I'm able to observe how a lot of the uh, the black participants of the manosphere actually feel about social issues, and it's with things how they've been in the country so far with all these incidents. Well, I shouldn't say how they've been, but um, kind of the systematic stuff getting kind of exposed more to the public, greater public, like it is. Um, a lot of participants are really using this time to really uh, express opinions that they normally don't have an opportunity to express in. They kind of, and you may know this. They kind of cloak it in like improvement or kind of pull yourself up by your
Well,
bootstraps
well,
kind of
it's not.
conversations.
Well, it's not really improvement. I started that long before Man of Tomorrow even came around. I've been telling these dudes to improve the whole time. Improvement is now a cloak, and that's your point. It's now a cloak to talk about the success of busting a nut, the success of dating scallywags. And there's nothing wrong with that because even when you bring that up, they call that dick police. And it's like, come on, man. Just because you got with a girl from Belgium and she used to sleep with dogs and you happy that you sleeping with a pretty pale skinned woman with big breasts who used to sleep with dogs, that's your problem. But why come back to the community and call people apes and monkeys? Why use that Ku Klux Klan rhetoric? Your thoughts?
Um, as an inherent of constructive or logical reasoning and conversation and thinking, um, I'm quote Neely Fuller. Sex is part of his 9 areas of activity, and I've heard him. I personally have heard him say it. It seems to get the most active black people in his observation, very much so, like they really perk up and they start talking about it. They start discussing it. They're really into it. They talk about all the aspects, and and just from him looking at patterns and me looking at patterns as well, it's a big thing. And so they do feel comfortable, or they are allowed basically. um I'm wording it wrong, but
Well. Let me say
you
this.
get the gist of what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Well, let me say this. Massa told great grandma it was important because Massa wanted her to breed.
Correct.
Massa told him it was important because he had no other function on the plantation but to breed and pick.
Correct.
So
10
this,
babies, you might get your freedom.
right, right. But there was really no freedom just getting sold to another property.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we look at like the reason I'm so passionate is because I risked my job this week, man, speaking to all of my coworkers uh about the struggles of black sons and how a lot of black dudes are scared to. They walk around and I know they thought about some of the buck dancing dudes who were at my job. I said a lot of
Mm.
dudes smile and are very cordial to you guys, but
Mhm.
they in pain inside. They don't feel like they can voice their opinion. Some people get bullied, and the darker you are, some of you guys, your ladies and men, you walk around, look at some of these dark skinned people as if they're monsters, and it's so easy to say. Now, mind you, I said this on a Zoom conference to over 47 people.
Mhm.
Fuck my job. Needed to be said. They had a conference saying, well, we want to know how y'all feel about the times and what's going on. Are y'all scared? Hey, no, that's my opportunity as sEEyAYlETRE to speak for these black sons who love to talk about how they making shit happen, but you ain't willing to
Mhm.
risk your job for a black son, stranger that you don't even know. And that's what we need to get back to. What are your thoughts, sir?
My thoughts are, um, like I mentioned this before when we were talking. There's a lot of, unfortunately, it's a lot of cowardice, man. I just have to say it straight up. I know, you know, I know, I know certain people would say, black people, undergoing systematic racism, you have to allow them to be victims. You have to allow them, to be victims, and that's partly true. But you know, um, there's nothing saying you have, there's the cowardice, and that's what it is. And and just I'll let you go. Um, I remember first getting into the professional field, and you know, it gets indoctrinated. I mean, you spoke
Yep.
about the woman. My wife, I remember my wife at the time telling me, "You need to just play the game." Basically,
See,
she was like, "Stop that stuff. Play the game." You know what her mother said? Black woman. This is a black woman. She fought in civil rights. This is a black woman. Fought in civil rights, toe to toe. And you know what she said? Basically, stop all that. You need to play the game.
see my point. And look, there's two levels of playing the game. Let's really unpack this because I spoke to one of my dark skinned female colleagues today. For women, it's easy for them to say play the game because the white woman, the white man, the Asian women are always going to look at them as gatekeepers. We keep these chicks around to stop others from excelling. So it's easy for them to say play the game. Okay. Somebody said something derogatory about my coworker today, and we up here volunteering, trying to help do some work nobody wants to do. And I said, well, they lucky they didn't say it to me because I'd have said, okay, well, I won't be back down here on Tuesday. You guys have somebody else do it. I'm going to go back to my regular job. See, we get too many. See, I think the black man, and you teach me actual factual. I think the black man has made it from the day of the Buffalo Soldier. I think he has caused all this racism because he keeps helping everybody but his own black son. Let me say it again. Let me explain it. When you look at the military men, why are not more black dudes, colonels, generals in the Air Force? Why are black dudes going to the meat grinder of the army first? Shouldn't the black men who have succeeded ever since the days of Red Tails have a system in place to pull their guys up to admiral rather than have him finding his own way?
Yeah. But Q, you got to remember, this is a very sophisticated system. Now the last 2 weeks have shown that it's definitely got some weak stress points. This is
What
a
what
very
what
sophisticated
what
system, and
what
so
what system
go
is
ahead.
sophisticated?
Hmm?
Which system is sophisticated? I'm
Uh,
confused.
the one that you just spoke of,
No, not
that
at all.
they're in, that they were born.
Not at
Oh,
all.
you don't think so?
Not at all. Let me tell you. It goes back to my point of, and I'm not just puffing smoke. It goes back to my point of monolithic. People in that structure or any structure, but let's stick with military. Have you noticed the Chinese people who join the military don't really need, and it's very few of them, don't really need to do well in the areas they're at because they have admirals and generals constantly writing them orders to keep them in great situations. So, how's it difficult? When you look at the very few Saudi Arabia dudes who wear their turbans, very few of them, why do they tend to ascend so quickly? Getting these little puff assignments, and then all of a sudden, 6 years, 8 years later, this guy is a high ranking officer. How the fuck did that happen? He's never been on the field because he's been protected by a monolithic way of thinking. So I'm gonna let you have the mic back, but here's why I don't think that's valid, because you have guys who have ascended willing to culturally reach back to their particular guys and float them an easy path. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that like any strong organization, they participate in typing or personality typing or composites. And so when you participate in typing, there are certain criterias and levers, seen or unseen, that are within organizational structure. Sometimes they're written. I mean, you're in corporate America, so sometimes they're written in the vision, the goals of these companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
They may be on the website.
Right.
So this is part of. I'm gonna use another word. This is a part of their company culture. Now, I'm not. This is not taking away a critique of some of those high-ranking black men, which America always seems to parade those guys out when something is going on or we see them. I.e., um, one comes to mind is Powell, General Powell.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean that it doesn't get any higher than that. And what he was dealing with and what he dealt with, especially in pertaining to the '80s with Panama, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the guy's name, but it'll come to me when he got the guy who
Noriega.
got involved with
Noriega.
Noriega, right? And his even Powell's dealings with that to the Bush family and all that stuff.
Reagan.
He was
Reagan.
around. He was around, right?
Reagan.
Well, Daddy Bush, Reagan, Daddy Bush, and Bush Jr. or the
Well,
second,
well, well. Reagan superseded because Reagan started it all. But go ahead.
right? And so it, some would think, hey, here's General Powell, decorated guy. Why isn't he pushing like Robert Mueller,
Mm-hmm.
decorated veteran, lifelong Republican? For people who don't know, lifelong
Mm-hmm.
conservative. I'll say that.
Right.
I've read up on him because I was very impressed with Robert Mueller.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what we have to understand is that
Powell is also a conservative.
he is too. He is as well, which I'm not knocking him. He is too. Here's what we have to understand is that they participate in typing, or I just spoke on that one word, cowardice, or the
Mm-hmm.
laziness. And what we have to understand is that it is like a sense of duty. It is a sense of duty. They will pull a guy off all the way off the bench, and excuse me, not pull, but he will go because of a sense of duty. Even if you're like, what does he have to gain? Robert Mueller, retired, decorated. Say
Mm-hmm.
what you want. He's liked across both aisles politically.
Mm-hmm.
But he did it out of a sense of duty. Look at the guy for the EP who was in charge of the EPA. I forgot what his name was. He did all that crazy stuff. The phone installed $100,000 phone. I mean, just all types of stuff. Phone booth, the expensive trips.
Mm-hmm.
Why would he do such a thing? This man is prominent in Oklahoma, litigator, he's got his own stuff, he's successful. Why would he go to Washington? Why? And then they're talking about thereafter, this man he's probably going back for governorship. And so you have to understand is that, and I don't know if we know it's like it's a fervor. It's a sense of duty. It's a fervor, and far too often, some of the prominent black men who I came into contact with, you just mentioned the military or various other organizations, they don't have that fervor. They're like, hey man, I got it. This is great. As you talk about the money thing, that bag thing, just to show you how to get the bag kind of transcends
Right.
generations. It just wasn't called get the bag. And so they don't have that fervor like our Geronimo Pratt.
Right.
You
Right.
read he was a vet, Purple Heart, Silver Heart, a war hero. He was a war hero.
Right.
He had that fervor. Many of the other men who were in his class, those men had fervor. They had a sense of duty. They were focused. This is what they were going to do. And unfortunately, we don't see that. I mean, why look at all these black police chiefs they keep pushing out every time there's a quote unquote scandal that they get caught in their hands in the cookie jar. What you look at them and you're like, well, what's going on in your department? They're supposed to be the quote unquote face.
So
Supposedly.
here's the problem in a couple of things that you
Uh-huh.
said. Number one, let's go back to the
Uh-huh.
corporate piece. The corporate piece, I don't agree with because it's really not about the mantra of the company. It's about connections. Those people, I've worked several corporate situations, non-medical, medical. It's really not about that. It's about
Mm.
making the company look good. And if you can get a prostitute who was dancing on the Magic City pole that somehow, some way, through her Instagram connections, can make the company look good, they will forego all that shit you read to put her on there. I've seen it happen. I've seen them take cocaine smoked out doctors and put them at the forefront. I've seen them have a doctor who had full blown HIV, put him head of emergency department. All that stuff don't matter. What matters is the appearance of power. That's what they're going off of. They're going off of the appearance of power. And what I try to tell black dudes is if there were 2 or 3 black dudes at a facility and all y'all connected and y'all go have beers together once a week and say, hey, don't fuck up because you know they looking at all of us. You dudes can bring in people up under y'all. You can sit up here and create some type of force so that if they get rid of one of you, 2 or 3 of you will speak up. The problem where that corporate thing works against the black man is because he's not connected to nothing. He's always on an island by his damn self. And as I told my colleagues today, Filipino, Chinese, white, I said the frustration you see with black men is because they've been on an island. They don't know how it feels to be La Familia. They don't know what a Lolo is, the way some of you Filipinos do. They don't have a grandfather that's appreciated. This is what I said to 47 people who ain't black and a couple of Africans. They don't have none of that. And they can't leave. I risk my job to say all that shit. Now, going back to the military piece of what you said, a lot of that is true. I will give you that. There's no passion for a lot of dudes. But there's no passion for a lot of dudes, which is what fervor is for those people who are out there. There's no passion for a lot of dudes. I do understand. But at some point in the game, you can't think that the bag is going to protect you. You got to understand that everybody else is monolithic. Everybody else is going off numbers. You know how many Filipinos I had email me and stop me in the hallway. I love you. Spoke so eloquent and you spoke it. I even told my boss's boss. She was like, yeah, some of my stuff is getting broke into. I even said when it was my turn to speak, and and to the people who are feeling some type of way, fear, or your stuff is getting broke, I do apologize on that behalf, but we're kind of frustrated. You know, we're not being left alone. We can't just go make basic screw ups that you guys have made in life. We got to walk around with this dark skin. And I didn't get a chance to say the EEOC stuff that I normally say. So that's where I have the disagreement with. Let's hear what Giorgio 448 has to say. Go ahead and educate me on something, sir.
All right, sir. Hey guys, how y'all doing?
We doing great. Life is great.
Okay, all right. You said something about every other race of people are monolithic, right?
Yes, sir.
I heard you say that. Okay. Well, weren't we of a monolithic way back when there was a Black Wall Street? I mean, weren't we supposedly together at that time?
Yeah, and we
Simply
got
because we
murdered
had to be?
and we got murdered in the streets for doing it.
Okay, but I mean, does that mean that we need to actually split apart and actually be divisive? I mean, didn't they do the same thing to the Native Americans and yet they still stick together?
I'm confused. What do you mean?
Say that I'm reading this and that. Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that if a race of people were actually persecuted, does that mean that we need to divide? I mean, the Native Americans, they got the land taken, and yet pretty much they still, for the most part, are actually together. You don't see them kind of them actually killing.
No. Let's be factual, sir. They were only together because they had sovereign land that was demanded of them as a reason for surrender. Can we agree on that part before you continue?
Okay, they have sovereign land. So thing is, when the white man came into Africa, and pretty much we were already divided. That's why it was easy for the white man to basically do this thing called African trade.
True, because we were divided by tribe. Yes.
Okay, so thing is, they had tribes over here too. You have the Cherokees, you got the Blackfoot,
True.
and they were divisive, but they still actually were pretty much together. They weren't really into that
because
slavery stuff.
They were together because they were given sovereign land to go recoup on.
Okay, but why were we so divided to the point to where we will sell ourselves to unknown? In other words, we would sell ourselves to aliens.
Oh, okay.
Why would we do that?
Okay, so the sell yourself piece. Okay, so let's go back. So here's let's go back to slavery. I'll give you two concepts of slavery because respectfully to what you're saying, I don't think you're understanding how slavery worked. Okay, so let's go back to Egypt. Egypt, in the time of Ramesses, a person would be enslaved for a period of time. And the thought process was you'll be enslaved for a period of time and then you're released. You go over to Rome, you're enslaved for a period of time and then you're exalted to something else. You survive the games and you get exalted to something else. So to answer your question, nobody in the realm of slavery thinking, even the Russians didn't understand this American concept of slavery. The Portuguese didn't understand. See, the American concept of slavery after the Amish left, late 1600s, was so different and so abusive, nobody had seen that before. So when you say, why would they do that? Because enslavement was a common thing. Once somebody got conquered, they were enslaved. But here's the thing that you're leaving out, Giorgio. The slaves, other than Egypt, and other than the gypsies of Romania and the Serbs, other than those three demographics, slaves were treated pretty good. They were not savagely beaten. They were a part of the society. And even when Native Americans had people working on their land, and there's a confusion with that because Native Americans, I'm part Choctaw, Native Americans didn't have slaves. When you were captured, you were indoctrinated into the structure of the Native American life. And you were low on the totem pole, you had to do all the shit work. You can call that slave, but you didn't have people just going around getting whipped and beat. So I just want you to continue what you're saying, but just understand that part of the reason why they were able to sell 100 people for 30 baseball caps, okay, as an example, is because those 100 people were captured from a conquered enemy and they're treated well, but we need to get rid of them. Does that make sense?
Okay, let me give a little bit of pushback here because there's so
Go
many
ahead.
ways I can
Go ahead,
go.
because actual fact is going to do it too.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Number one, you said, well, the white folks or the Europeans, they did slavery
American.
differently than everybody.
American.
Okay, America. Okay, America. They did slavery differently, and people have never seen that before. But weren't they? But didn't they back that up with the Bible, according to Leviticus chapter 25 and some scriptures in the book of Deuteronomy, even in the New Testament? It says, even it mentions something about even the cruel ones. You must honor and respect them and actually reverence them with fear, like you would the Lord. So, don't you think that they were following what the Bible said? Even some of the slave owners actually quoted the Bible and why they were so cruel. So, is this a new concept, or is this what they were actually doing based on what the Bible says?
Okay, so let me answer that question. And again, you're dealing with Mr. Research, so I apologize for telling you this documented stuff. So I'm not going to tell you how I feel. I'm going to tell you what's documented. It is documented that many slave people took out parts of the Bible and only fed the parts of the Bible that lent to their superiority over those slaves. One of the main evidence of that is many of the slave revolts when they found out that pieces of the Bible were torn out, that they're only being fed the parts that made them docile. Another addition, when you look at the translation of the Bible, Aramaic is the part that Jesus speaks, and Jewish is the part that everybody else speaks. The translation of the Bible, going back to King James, a lot of stuff was left out also, which is why you have parts of the Bible, even to this day, in museums that are not part of our standardized Bible that we get. So when you say that, you must also look at phrases that tell the master of a land to treat his servants well. You see what I'm saying? But you'll get that part torn out. So respectfully to what you're saying is, I hear what you're saying, but they didn't use the complete narrative of the Bible, because anything that required them to be decent and honorable masters of a land, using the example of Boaz, they didn't do it. So what I'm trying to say is, it was a tricking going on. If we fixing cars a certain way, and now I start making a lot of money by welding two damaged cars together, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. Now people are dying from the cars me and Giorgio are selling. The question is, are you going to keep participating in that? Which is why the Portuguese got out of it, which is why England got out of it. They saw America was just too abusive. You're going against what, when you got a slave in Britain, he was like, oh, Charles, look at this. Giorgio, come look at this. Look at how Leroy can pronounce we gave him a encyclopedia the other day. Watch him. He's amazing. While America, don't you dare try to read. See, slavery was different. Go ahead, sir. And then we'll get back to that.
Wasn't it the same with slavery over there in Haiti, even Brazil? I mean, they didn't treat them right either. That's why they actually sat there and celebrate their independence.
Right. That's why they actually did. Yeah, that's why they were.
But the thing is that you said America did something different, but wasn't everybody doing it the way that America was doing it? And plus, wasn't America the most successful as far as slavery is concerned? I mean, if they were cruel to their slaves, then they were actually profiting.
No. Misinformation. No, two documented evidences give you that. The creation of the cotton gin Slavery had diminished at that point because of the infestation of boll weevils. Cotton was terrible until the creation of the cotton gin. So that's one evidence of that. Everybody was not doing it the American way. Only the Caribbeans was, and the Caribbeans got killed for it. So no,
And let me
everybody was
ask you.
doing it that way. So I just want to
Okay.
acknowledge that the narrative you're putting together, with all respect to you, is not. It's not, and I'm not trying to be a hole, but it's just not documented as such. You're taking pieces and you're trying to combine them, and it just didn't work like that. Slavery was not as terrible as the Caribbeans and the Americas had it, and the Americans they were profitable because they did it longer. That's the only reason. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, I have a few, but I want to hear what the actual factual have to say before I go in.
AF.
Hey guys, I'm back. I kind of wanted to go back to um, the what we were talking about organization and
Go ahead.
blacks um, in this country in particular. Um, I wanted to, because I think you gave me a little bit pushback. Uh, you were saying how, correct me if I'm wrong. You may have to fill it in. You were saying how those blacks who do get into prominent places, they don't focus on being as connected as
Not
possible, or
really.
as
No.
not a monolith.
Yeah, not. I mean, within each other, the way. See, like Filipinos are a great example. Filipinos don't
Mhm.
care if you're skilled or not. They're going to pull their people in. They don't care if they don't even know you. You're Filipino. Everybody's going to sign on and claim that you're a great person to work with. And
Okay,
I've seen
so
them get. And I've seen them get non-skilled, just graduated people prime jobs like that.
and I have two. I think well, I mean, hey, listen, I think,
And what's so funny? You looking at this Filipino dude like you don't know that? Oh, I never did that before. That's basic shit. But guess what? He making the same money as you are.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
So
yeah.
if we as,
I've seen worse.
so if we as black dudes were more connected like that,
Hmm.
then they would be used to seeing Giorgio work. Then me and actual factual applying, it's nothing. Oh man, hopefully
I,
we'll get one just like Giorgio. That's what they thinking. But if we get, CA Latre acting like an asshole, here come Giorgio applying. Oh, he'll be another CA Latre. We don't know about that. Let's get one of our cousins then. Go ahead, actual.
I think I think one of the problems, and I've talked to different brothers in different various different levels. One of the problems is it is a uh, you have brothers who have fervor, don't have the discipline, and then you have brothers who have the resources but don't have the vision, but they got some discipline. And so a lot of the problems is meeting those. Like yeah, I've seen the hustlers. I've seen the hustlers who got the money. They may even know how to do the work, do the trade or whatever, or know somebody who they're helping financially,
Uh-huh.
but they don't have the vision. Seen people, we've all seen it, seen people who have the vision, but they don't have the discipline, or maybe they just don't have the resources. And various different, again, various different various different qualities out of those.
What
I
do you
think
mean
we've
by
all seen.
resources? What do you mean by resources?
Either the lack thereof, excuse me, resources and money, or they have the connections, meaning they know the particular minority grants, uh, and all type of things you can get.
Let me
If you
let
look,
me let me
go
let me
ahead.
tell that, sir. Look, as a guy who's been in corporate for a while,
Hmm.
all we ask of our black brothers is to keep
Hmm.
your freaking mouth closed, stop grinning, and know the language of the position you in.
But it's larger than that.
No, it ain't.
It's
It
larger than
ain't.
that.
It
Yes,
ain't.
it.
It ain't.
Here's my pushback. Here's my pushback. Here's my pushback. Here's my pushback. Hold on. And this is good. Because we need more conversations like this. Here's my pushback. I see a lot of brothers who are keeping their head low, good workmen, or good, or they're proficient or excelling at whatever they're doing. They're very good. They just don't have a vision, or they don't
Oh,
have the courage.
you mean the okay, so the vision is a different thing. The vision is a
Yeah, they
different.
don't have. Yeah, I mentioned that one black billionaire who died of an aneurysm in the early 90s. That he what he possessed in his 48 to 50 years of life. It I mean, he got out. This guy stood as legal counsel to political very black cause. He stood as legal counsel, was whooping the tail in the boardroom, and then had the vision to say, I'm going to grab and be international business, and I'm going to do stuff that they talk about Carl Icahn does in his old age. I'm
Mhm.
doing it. And
Right.
I'm half his age. I'm 10 to 15 years younger. He was
Right.
doing that. And his even his white peers, all they could do was like, all he does is dominate. And they weren't ashamed. They said all he does is dominate. They may have not liked it, but all he does is dominate. And that is a rare, we don't realize that is rare. And so half the time when you get into these organizations, you don't know what you're dealing with when you see brothers. You don't know if you're dealing with you speaking on it. You don't know if you're dealing with the clown. You don't know if you're dealing with the brother who just want to keep his head low, good guy, family guy, wants to keep his head low, keep his job, and try to retire. Basically, he wants to keep quiet. He's, that's the
Hold on,
guy, that's the
BFT.
brother on the plantation. Go ahead.
No. You
Oh,
go ahead.
you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have various different brothers. Very few of them actually have the vision, the gumption, if I use an old term, the gumption, to actually say, I'm going to go for it. Like as you speak, that you talk about
Kill a dragon.
slaying those dragons.
Yeah, kill a dragon.
Most brothers ain't trying to listen to the manosphere.
Hold on for a second.
Listen to the.
BMT.
Go ahead.
Hold on. BMT, what's up, man?
I was going to see if you wanted to hold one of the first annual. Well, actually, this will be the second female debate featuring the real Dana and Rob B. privileges over feminism in the black community.
What's the title, sir?
It's did feminism ruin black women?
Yeah, I'll jump in. What day is that?
That's today, but we needed a female. But right now we're filling in.
Okay, no problem. What time? How many? 30 minutes from now? Hour from now?
I'll fill in. Just text me when you're ready. Just message me when you're ready.
Okay. I'll start closing this out in 15 minutes.
Okay, that would be great.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So, okay, I hear all that. Let me hear from Giorgio before I go in. Giorgio, what are your thoughts?
Again, going back to this monolithic thing. And the thing is that we complain that everybody else is monolithic. And my only thing is that I don't think we can ever be monolithic as a race of black folks, because we're just too damn divided.
Okay.
And the thing about it is that if we're divided, we're focusing on getting Jordans, we're focusing on pleasing the eyes of the females and doing all this low level crap or whatever.
Let me ask this question just so we can get to the crust of it. Do you believe right now, today, that black women are 60 to 70% monolithic?
50 to 60% monolithic? No, they may look like that, but they're not.
So let's get to the nitty gritty. What are you classifying as monolithic? What is evidence of monolithic in your eyes?
The Jewish people, the people that are the quote unquote Asian community, the Russian community, people from Ireland.
Yeah. Those are
They
people.
work together. I'm sorry.
Give me an example, because black women are working together without black men. Black women are owning
They're
business.
working together, and okay, all right, yeah, you're right. They're working together as far as, let's say, business, or let's say getting themselves jobs or whatever.
Right.
But then, but when it comes to, it's funny how they work good on that aspect, but then when it comes to that same black woman that actually sleep with each other's man or whatever, or actually on the down low trying to,
that's the other 30%. Let's take the social part out of it. Professionally, sir,
okay.
Economically, they're monolithic.
Okay, I could give you that.
They are willing to pull.
But the thing is that
they are willing to pull a chick from the hostro in, as long as this chick knows how to pay.
Okay, so the thing is, so this goes to my next point. You say that they are monolithic for the most part. Okay, fine, I will give you that. So why aren't they teaching their sons and their daughters how to do that in order for them to be monolithic together?
Because Massa told them a long time ago, that little nigga is there to lift boxes and get shit off the top shelf and go to the store for you.
Yeah, but I mean, I could understand if that lasted for maybe 4 or 5 generations. But
notice her daughter is doing better than her son. I know you can't disagree with that, because she's monolithic to her daughter.
I understand that, but the thing is, so therefore, what you're saying is that because of what Massa did, so we're gonna put it right back onto the white man.
No, what I'm saying,
can we not take accountability for ourselves?
Okay, so let's do accountability and actual factual. I'm gonna go back to you on your topic too. Let's do accountability. Okay, accountability. I want to make it to where black men who don't hire other black men should be shamed and ostracized. I want to make it, because you said accountability. I want it to be black men who sit up here and make anti-black statements should have their photo put on every national TV and forever shamed and ostracized for that. Because in order to get this responsibility you want, it has to be cruel the first time. It has to be, because we don't have a culture, sir. See, everything you're saying has to do with culture. And when we talk about Russians, Japanese, they have a culture in place. They were told about a family way before they learned how to walk. So in order for me to do that, I got to get rid of all of them. Now, after I've done that, let me turn to the women. Now I need to, and you ain't going to like this, Giorgio. Now I need to join with the white men, just like feminism, and call it maleism, and wipe out every female trope that black females take granted for. Welfare, child support. But I'm going to have to bond with the white man to do it, because I don't have a power structure to do it amongst black men. Because black men, now get this, Giorgio, they don't want to financially support the stuff that helps them. This is what you not equating. Yes, we can be responsible, but I got to kill off the dead weight. I got to kill off non-producers. The guy who's just punching in at his job, and this goes back to actual factuals point, because I'm marrying the two. The guy who's just punching in at his job and not trying to be the supervisor, but he been there for 8 years, killed that nigga. He's in the way. He's in the way of progress. He's in the way of me bringing Giorgio and actual factual in. Why you say that, Mr. Research? Because he's taking up space. He's not trying to elevate and take over another branch of the company like the Filipinos are. So when you want that responsibility, it's bloody, Giorgio. And I'm going to have to kill some black people off like Shaka Zulu to make one nation that's feared by everybody. I can't have all these little nations going on. I got to have everybody in a monolithic way of thinking. And then, like I said, I got to turn to the black women and cut off everything that they take benefit of. Let me turn to actual factual real quick. So in the essence of what you're saying, actual factual, yes, a lot of people don't have the passion to do what they're supposed to be doing, which is Giorgio's point too, or the solution to Giorgio's issue. A lot of dudes don't have the passion. And when you look at the manosphere, when Giorgio looks at the manosphere, how many people, Giorgio, are telling you what they do for a living? All these people who are giving advice, Giorgio, actual factual, why can't they sit up here and pull you in? Because it's all entertainment, and we got to kill off the tap dancers, even if you might like them. We can listen to Tommy Sotomayor for what it's been like almost 20 years. This nigga don't even have a job. Well, that shouldn't matter, Mr. Research. He's black. He has a voice. You see, that's why we can't have responsibility. When we come and say he's black and he's a non-producer, Giorgio, and you want producers, actual factual, you got to kill these cats off. These cats are dead weight. They're in your son's way, Giorgio. Your son should have that job. And the reason I'm saying that, gentlemen, is because when we're able to produce people who are economically sound and they're busy pulling up another family member or somebody in the Giorgio clan, now all of our cousins, everybody from our tribe, notice I'm back to that, Giorgio and actual, notice how I married your two conversations. Now we're pulling people from our tribe into the business. So even if they don't stay in there, they have a leg up. Does anybody disagree?
I mean, those are the results that you want. I agree with most of it. I just think that we're not getting too deep into the manosphere thing. Is that I think a lot of the younger guys, that was my first comment that I posted in the chat, from the conversations I'm picking up from a lot of the younger content creators, they're starting to make the distinction of the, as you call them, Chicken George entertainers, who may be entertaining. They may be like Tommy. They may be very entertaining, but who lack substance overall.
Have no power.
And it's a bunch of smoke and mirrors. One I can think of in particular, who I know you got your eyes set on. The young guys I think they're gonna cannibalize.
Because gentlemen, and wait a minute, before I go back, let me give Giorgio some of the mic. Go ahead, Giorgio.
Well, the thing is that I mean, all that you're saying. I mean, hey, you know what? I mean, I agree with the vast majority of it. You know, I stand by you 100% on that. You know, I mean, but at the same time, I mean, with all this distorted information out there, and these dudes tap dancing and entertaining and not really focusing on power. I mean,
there we go.
Again, you know, do we blame the dudes or do we blame the women that raised them?
I don't blame anybody as they're bleeding on the floor. He had to die. When you think about kings, Giorgio, and you look at everything historical you've ever read or any TV show or documentary about a king, love my brother, had to kill that motherfucker. He was a threat to the realm. Look, I'm Jon Snow. I'm in love with Dany, Game of Thrones. This bitch just want to be loved, but you know what? I can't see it. This hoe is a fucking threat to the realm. Kill this bitch as I hug her. Do you understand, Giorgio, that warfare and getting what you want causes some of our friends to have to bleed out on the fucking table? We got too many entertainers, fellas. Look. This is a friendly fire. I know he hates when I do this, but this is friendly fire. Let me show you. Well, let me use this other guy, Advice Show. As big as Advice Show is, what has he developed? Another show. Couldn't even keep the black woman in his fucking life. Had to get the Latin chick. Got the Latin chick, but where are the black men who have shows on his network? See the problem? But he's the one that gave birth to Cynthia G. He's the one that gave birth, him and Boyce gave birth to Paris. Phil is the one that gave birth to Crystalline Carrison. Shall I go on? Gotta die. If you want the progress that you say you want, that type of behavior, and I'm not talking about Phil personally, but that type of behavior gotta go. Because it's tap dancing. Another popular YouTuber, been going to school for a very long time, don't even have a real job yet. Don't know what it feels like. You don't even know if the guy's going to be able to get a job because his face is all over YouTube. Which one of you black men are going to hire a person that I've seen all on YouTube talking about women? Hello?
I mean, not me.
So therefore, that's more entertainment tap dancing. You can't, we don't have proof of evidence. A lot of these people, I'm not perfect, fellas, but you know why I hide my face? I got a big fucking job. I can't be having my people sit up. You know, I saw you on YouTube say this. No, anytime you see my face on YouTube, it's going to be something said so low key. That's the point I'm making, gentlemen. In order for you to get the manosphere to do this and the blah, blah, blah to do that, there's going to be a lot of bloodshed. But in the meantime, Giorgio's going to go create his clan. Actual Factual's going to go create his clan. And all the other people are going to beg Giorgio to bring them up once they hit 55 and 60 years old. Oh man, yeah, Giorgio, man, hey, how you doing, man? Remember we was talking about bitches and hoes, man? Shit, I ain't doing so good, man. You think you can buy me a beer? And you know what the evidence of that, Giorgio and Actual Factual? Look at the fucking homeless condition, and all you see is black male faces with a couple of black women. Am I lying, gentlemen?
Well, Q, I think what you talking about, man, that's some Haitian Revolution stuff. And I think you know that.
I do know it, but see, Giorgio took me down that path because I understand his frustration of why don't we get there. But I just had to be honest. There's going to be a lot of blood.
But you know what they did first, though. You know who they took care of first. You know what they took care of first. Any good on
the anti.
You got it. You got it.
There's going to be some people you like that are going to be bleeding on the floor.
I think they're doing that. That's happening through time and the system, particular country they inhabit. I think that's happening. It's forcing people to look like, it's forcing people's cowardice to really come to the fore, or whatever they are. If they're into, as you talk about, that kind of that, you know, they're into being a boy and all they can do is offer sex to women. It's coming to the forefront. It's like, wait a minute, all this huge stuff is going on, and all you can do is talk about dating coaches and tricking and all this. Wait a minute, all this huge stuff is talking about, all this huge stuff is going on right now, and all you can do is basically be an entertainer.
Have breeding conversations.
Yeah, be a breeder. Be a breeder, or be Chicken George and be entertainment. or be logically disingenuous, which I see that's a huge problem. And you know, Lily Fuller talks about it. Black people have a hard time. This is what you gotta understand, Mr. Research, what you're talking about, stuff that's ailing us. Black people have a hard time with with deciphering certain things, codes and other things, and then put on top of that cowardice. That's another level.
No, I
And I
don't think
see,
I don't think we have a hard time. I
yes, we
think
do.
let me explain, and maybe
Mm-hmm,
you'll disagree, but let me say it this way. I don't think we
mm-hmm.
have a hard time. I think we have protectors of cowardice. So anytime a warrior, and I go back to an interview I did 4 months ago because I'm back in music and I'm making music. And somebody said, well, you're older. Why would you be in this lane and blah, blah, blah. And I said simply this. I am not a Little Wayne type of dude. I don't beg another man to give me my money. I don't run to the white man at Universal to force this man I used to call daddy to give me money. Those are the type of dudes you have elevated to manhood. And people in the thing was like, ooh, but that's real.
That may be true for some, but I still see the vast majority of black people. Even check out some of the on the ground interviews with some of these black protesters. It's a lot of confusion. Yeah, we talk about the cowardice, but it is a lot of confusion. Look at black men in this space. Look at what we do. It's right in front of us, and you still have black men devolving and going, well, if he just would have held his pinky toe out just a little bit further. See, all niggas got to do is just hold their pinky toe out just a little bit further, and you won't have reason to get shot, or you won't have reason to do this. You won't have to do this, do that,
But
do
a
this.
lot of those people are not necessarily black. I will say that there's so many Africans that I've met who we be thinking are African American, and this person is ready to go back to Nigeria tomorrow. And I but with that said, we need what we really need actual, and this is one of the reasons why I'm going back into music. If my music catches on, cool. If it don't, cool. But we need people on a Snoop Dogg level willing to risk our voices for real solution-based conversation from a warrior standpoint. We can't have these emotional, we got too many emotional celebrities. Have you noticed that? Where's the Muhammad Ali motherfucker?
I just, man, Q, you got to understand when I say that as part of organizations or societies, they participate in typing, that is real. It's a reason why Pac is gone, and not just because of his rambunctiousness and some of the certain things he would do. It, they participate in typing. It is real, and it's not nothing. And when I speak on the participating in typing, Q, I do want to point this out to the audience and to yourself. You don't have to. You don't see the typing is like an acceptance. You don't have to do that. It is what you choose to do. Look at Killer Mike. Did you see Killer Mike and
Yeah.
T.I. in a press conference? Did you see him crying talking about his cousins that are police officers? This is Killer Mike. I
Yeah.
heard, I still rock with his stuff. Killer Mike has put out some of the most aggressive after post. I mean, this
I
Killer
knew that
Mike.
was going, but I knew that was going to happen. Hold on for a minute. Let's give some time to Angel. Angel, here's what we're talking about.
How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good. You guys really should check out the Angel Jackson show. A very eloquent lady, true lady, intellectual and at peace with brothers, not in a combat with brothers. And many of her followers are decent intellectuals. Here's what we're talking about. There's a lot of people who are not warriors, Angel.
Right.
And within our man spaces, we are polluted with tap dancing entertainers that women love to call men.
Yeah.
A lot of these dudes are older boys.
Yeah.
They have no proof of track record. So my first question to you as you come in here just to get the party started. What do you feel about people who get the man title from women, but they have no track record that they can fix a flat tire?
Amen to that. Hey, and you know what? Even in my relationships, I see that, with some of these men that they just don't want to see. I don't role play. I'm like you as a classy man. I know I'm a woman. I want to do woman stuff, right? I don't want to do stuff that is out of my lane. But see, the problem is you get a lot of these men that have preyed on women to do their job, right? So they can lay up. And that's what they do. And then when these women, and then you get the lonely ones, right? These what I call them, the thirsty women, right? They just want a man. They want to, and the man just want a belly warmer and a place to kick back. So you get some of these dudes that will come up on a woman, right? But they're not doing their part. And I see that a lot still, but these are women that allow it, and even
glad you said that.
No, women allow it. I remember one time I used to have women come over here. We used to have a weekly Bible study, and I was single at that time, and I seen all the sisters around here, and they all had these nice looking men. And I remember I talked to my friend Amelia, and I said, "Man, where you guys getting these brothers? You know what I'm saying? Man, some fine looking brothers." I said, "Wow." I said, "I can't seem to find the right guy." And you know what she told me? She said, "We take care of them." I was like, "Why? Yes, I'm gonna be lonely."
And said it proud too. And see, this is what I want you to. This is what I want you to understand. I couldn't say it on your show because over here I'm a little brash. See, Angel, and I'm gonna let Actual Factual get in too. But Angel, a lot of women want a penis to control.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily a man. It's somebody who's willing to do what they want. When I know a guy who he made less than his woman, he dressed real nice, and he had no power in the relationship.
Wow. And see,
wait, he thought he had a relationship.
Wow. Well, let me tell you this, and this is what I tell women. You should never, ever think it's okay to support a man or to do the things a man should do, because guess what? It'll always work against you, because it's not a man's nature to have you doing all the hard work and them laying up.
I don't think that message really resonates, Angel, to many women. Several women, yes, but not many, because what's the alternative? You're dealing with an established man.
Hey, Dr. Amira. Come up, Dr. Amira. I'd like to hear her perspective too.
And an established man is hard to deal with, whether he white or black. And this is why you don't even see many of them with established white men.
But here it is. But established men, they don't want to be laying up in your house on your program. They don't.
But here go the pushback. And I'm gonna let Actual get in after I say this. I think a lot of women may not want to lay up in the house, but see, he's too boring with his schedule. He's too boring with the fact you got to go open up the store at 6 o'clock or get that or get that fee from the plaza for not having the doors open at 6 in the morning, which is the store hours for all. See, he's too boring. So bottom shelf Brad, scruffy Scotsman, Irish, I don't know what I'm doing yet. He's great.
Right.
Actual Factual, what are your thoughts before we get a mic back to Angel? Actual Factual, what are your thoughts?
Thank you. Angel, how you doing this evening?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right. As far as the men and women relationship, with that, I mean, it just goes back to what I was saying. They like, Just gonna have to move away from that 80%, the evil
Yeah,
80,
that's right. That's right.
and and but I don't know. I'm increasingly becoming disillusioned, Q. I really am. I don't even want to search for the 20, bro.
No, no, and look,
I
and you, and how old are you? How old are you?
31.
And you shouldn't. Go ahead, build your castle.
Right.
Go ahead, get what you need to get. Because like me, I plan on adopting some sons. I was telling my one of my African girlfriend last night. Here's my plan, sweetheart. You got to decide how you fit in it. Because this is what I'm going to be doing. Period. And
Right.
I
That's right.
encourage you, actual, to do that. Go finish up actual factual, and I'm gonna get some more of what Angel has to say.
Um, I think part of a big problem, and I seen somebody did identify it in the manosphere. Shout out to BGS. Is that there is a serious lack of understanding between being trained as a wife and marriage and wanting to be married and femininity. And I
Right.
think the connection is being missed. But I think what's happening is that um, I do think the audience is starting to uh, question this, which I think is important because I think even I was looking at some of these black femininity influencers trying to look at their message and going, okay, I can get with some of that what you're talking about, but there were certain things that key things that were missing, or that they were kind of, you could tell they were just through deception leaving out, or just leaving out altogether. And it would show with the conversations between other men in the YouTube space, other black men, whenever there was co-ed type conversations. And so, you know, it kind of circled back to who's trained as a wife, which is a whole culture around that, and then who is just trained in this American Western way, and it doesn't jive. It just
Absolutely.
really doesn't jive.
Right.
And I think I want to get this last point in, is that even the talk around feminism, I don't think you
Well,
were just
well, well,
speaking
well, well,
on
well, let me just
your.
interject. Let me just interject. As you talk
Go
about
ahead. Go ahead.
feminism, they're asking me to come on the debate show about feminism. So I'm gonna have to cut this short. I'm glad Angel came. I've been wanting her to come for a while, but I did promise I'd go over and talk to this debate people on this feminism show. So they just sent me the link. So let's
Oh,
go
cool.
ahead and start wrapping up. Go ahead, actual.
Okay, and just to wrap up, the big thing that I think a lot of the youngers are discovering in the manosphere, or some of the olders already knew or been screaming, is that difference. And like you were talking about with the Europeans and things of that nature, we don't have and I credit Dr. John Henry Clark and other scholars from the 80s and 70s, we don't have a unique understanding or complete understanding of how actual European men and women relationships went. And so we're getting an incomplete picture, and it's being used to paint everything, and we don't understand how unique it is. Even when it came to America,
30
it, it,
seconds.
it was
30
very
seconds.
unique. It was very unique. And so that's pretty much all I got to say. I appreciate it, Q, for having me on your discussion.
All right, thank you. I did want to say to what you just said, though, actual factual. European had to do with May, December marriages. So it had to do with younger males marrying older males marrying younger women, and they married as it relate to property and lineage. Here in America, we do who's cute for right now, and we tend to divorce once the wrinkles start coming in. So that's how that works. Angel, give me your last thoughts, and thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
What do
Well,
you
my last thoughts are that last comment you made about when the wrinkles come, honey. When my wrinkles come, my man gonna have it together so much they ain't going nowhere.
Well,
Okay.
you know what? You see, that's the beauty of love, though, and this is something that many other black women don't understand. You
Mhm.
want to get a guy hypnotized to being it's a one thing. My ex fiance, I used to try to tell her, I prefer being around you. But then she took that for granted.
Oh.
And that became the last thing she was providing.
Wow.
Okay, I was okay with the fact you don't cook, you don't do this, you set tripping off a bunch of stuff that ain't productivity. But now I don't even like being here.
Oh, yeah. It happens.
Yeah, so I tell you what, these Mexicans are going to be here at this door 5 o'clock in the morning, and they're going to pack all my stuff. So I'll be out of here in 20 minutes flat.
Wow. Well, look, I know you're trying to wrap up. We got to get together again. I was glad I seen you live. I told Dr. America's me and her was just talking on my channel. I said, let me come over here and just say hello and hang out with you for a little bit. But we got to do it again.
Yeah, I'm going to put my email in the chat room. Make sure you email, and I'll make sure I send you a link next time, rocking and rolling.
Definitely. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. I'm trying to build a collection of intellectuals to speak with, and try to get away from these tap dancing people. Yeah, it's too many Stephen Fetchits with a Bentley hats. I'm tired. Before you came in, here's something I said, Angel. I said there's a lot of guys in the men part of the deal who don't even have jobs. So how can we give them the man category? You know,
thank you.
Crazy.
And that's something we could talk about next time. You know, how can you really be the head of the house?
Right. It's crazy. All right. Thank you very much for coming in. Tune in next time, you guys. I promise I go over to BMT show and holla at y'all. Peace.
Peace.